Hey everyone, this is Dan. Hello, computer science, and welcome to our this recording of Unit 5, Lesson 11, while loops. So today, what's going on is we're going to be learning about while loops. Which, with while loops, they're basically an idea where you follow a pattern. So for this, I sort of created one for us to use. In the meantime, let me just move myself up here. And so what we have is we start off with our first command. We're going to make a box. So I'll make a box right over here. And let me fix that box. Boop, boop, boop. Alright, so we make a box, and let me see. We're going to ask the question, are there fewer than 5 tally marks in the box? And since there are currently none, we're going to say true. And so we're going to go over here in this while loop and sort of add a tally mark to the box. So we add a tally mark. Now we go back to this, we ask the question again, are there fewer than 5 tallies in the box? And the answer is yes, so we add another tally mark. Again, less than 5, add another tally mark. So now we're at 3, fewer than 5, yes, add another tally mark. Now we're at 4, fewer than 5, yes, add another tally mark, and now we're at 5, which is not fewer than 5, so that would be false, so now we stop drawing and we're done with our while loop. So the key idea of while loops is that you have it's basically like an if statement that repeats itself until it gets the outcome it wants, or until it gets a specified outcome. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going through a bunch of different sort of loop simulators within the code.org website. So I'll pull up that page now. Let me move my face back down and And so, oh, whoops, that is not the right one. 1 second. Okay, so this is where we are right now with our with what we're doing. So we're on lesson 11, and we're going to be sort of going through and doing loops. And in here, you'd be starting with number 2. So basically, these first couple ones, we're just sort of introducing the idea of these while loops. So in this first implementation, we want to add a console.log to the inside the loop after the number. So after we sort of assign a random number, it wants us to basically make a console log thing, so then it outputs the number it's producing. And so when we do this, basically what we see is if we open up our console log and we hit run, we should end up getting a whole bunch of different numbers. So it ran through the numbers a few different times, and it sort of did some drawing as well. And when it didn't get the number isn't 50, it does it. So if we run this again, it's going to sort of do the while loop again, and it's going to be sort of randomized of when it finishes. And every time we do it, it'll end up with a different pattern, because that's just how the random numbers work with the loop. Okay, now for these first 5 bubbles, so bubbles 2 through 5, we're just sort of introducing the basic ideas of loops. As we go on, like in bubbles 6 and 7, you're going to understand the importance of having a like updating a variable inside your loop, so then you don't end up with what is like an infinite loop, which would cause your program to bug out and not really work. So kind of like when we had our sort of loop right here, we had a variable being updated, which was the number of tally marks with our loop. So our tally marks here were our variable, and as we updated it, that allowed us to exit the loop. And in computer programs, normally we're going to have to do something similar like that in order to make sure our loop terminates at some point. Alright, now in bubbles 8 through 13, what you're going to be doing is basically you're going to be taking things we would normally say, like certain types of while loops we would normally give an everyday conversation, similar to the one we created here, and figuring out how to convert those loops into a programming language. So that'll be what's going on for bubbles 8 through 11. 8 through 13, and then after that we're going to be looking at a bunch of different types of operators we can use in our while loops, and then finally sort of put a culmination of all the information we will learn on while loops during this lesson into practice. So that's what's going on today. As always, I have my Discord open for you all to join and communicate with me or each other with, and you can always message me on Jupiter or email me or set up a time to do a Zoom meeting. As it is, what I'm expecting from you all as sort of a like an ending is to basically get through the bubbles and then sort of do the ending with bubble 21, and just sort of go through, attempt all of these, and try and get the while loops running, and that's what I'll expect for you on the end of the day on Friday, or I guess beginning of the day on Monday. Either sort of works. But yeah, I hope overall you all have a good time, and message me if you have any questions about the material we're going to be covering.